Welcome to Personal Injury Claims Explained by Foyle Legal, your trusted source for personal injury claims in Western Australia. Each week, we simplify complex legal issues, from motor vehicle accidents to workplace injuries, so you can confidently navigate your rights and secure the compensation you deserve.
Ever find yourself driving along, you see a speed limit sign and think, really?
Yeah.
Right here, 60.
Happens to the best of us, right?
It does. Speed limits. They can feel a little bit like a mystery sometimes. But what if I told you there's a reason behind those numbers? And not just about avoiding a ticket, but actually about staying safe.
Absolutely, yeah.
So today we're doing a deep dive into car accident speeds, and we've got some fascinating research from Foyle Legal in Australia.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they found, are you ready for this?
Hit me.
In some parts, you go 5 kilometers over the speed limit, you double your chances of a crash.
Wow, that's scary.
It really is, and it highlights why we're talking about this. It's something that's so easy to overlook.
Right.
Because we think, okay, it's just a little bit faster.
It's just 5 kilometers. Yeah, but it's deceptive speed. You encounter it every day. But the impact in a crash is exponential, not linear.
So unpack that for us for a second. What's actually happening?
Imagine for a second dropping a bowling ball from waist height.
Okay.
Now imagine dropping that same bowling ball from a rooftop. Same ball.
Different.
Much bigger impact. That's speed and crash force in a nutshell.
So when we talk about speed kills, it's not just a catchy phrase.
No.
That's literally what's happening.
It's basic physics. The faster you're traveling, the greater the force of impact if you collide with something. And at those higher speeds, something else happens too. Our brains, our bodies, they don't react as quickly. That reaction time, which is crucial to brake, to steer, to avoid danger, it narrows.
Those split-second decisions, that can make all the difference.
Hugely. What might be a near miss at a lower speed can be unavoidable at a higher speed.
And the faster you're going,
the bigger the consequences.
And to put an even finer point on this, the research found that a 5% increase in average speed leads to a 20% increase in fatal crashes.
Which is why those numbers on those signs, those speed limits, they're there for a reason.
Right, and it's interesting too because they're not all the same. Here in Australia, we've got different speed limits for different places.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes sense when you think about it. You don't need to be doing 100 kilometers an hour on a crowded city street, right?
Where there might be pedestrians and cyclists.
Exactly. You've got to tailor those speed limits to the situation.
So how do those tailored speed limits actually play out in the real world? Because that's where it gets really interesting.
Well, yeah, because anybody who's driven knows we don't always stick to those limits, do we?
Unfortunately not. And this is where the research gets, as you said, even more interesting. They looked at the statistics for specific speed zones over the past decade. So from 2013 to 2022,
okay.
2 speed zones stood out as having an increase in fatalities, 60 to 70 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
And then much faster, anything over 110 kilometers an hour.
Right. So 2 very different scenarios there.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's never just one thing, is it? There's a bunch of factors at play. One of them is definitely traffic volume. Over the past decade, we've seen more and more cars on the road. So even if everybody was driving at the exact same speed just by pure numbers, the likelihood of an accident goes up.
Just because there are more cars?
Exactly. But it's not just about the number of cars, right? It's about driver behavior too, and how that's changing.
So what are some of those changes?
Well, we're all a lot more distracted these days, aren't we?
We are. I mean, think about it. How often are we reaching for our phones, changing the music, even just glancing at the GPS?
It's constant.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to underestimate the impact those little distractions have. But even a split second with your eyes off the road at the wrong time can be disastrous.
Especially at those higher speeds we were just talking about. But It's not just distractions, right? It's like our tolerance for risk has increased.
Yeah, it's like this weird paradox. We've got all this technology, all these safety features in our cars, but at the same time, we seem to be taking more risks on the road.
And that actually reminds me of something that really jumped out at me from this research. They highlighted this very clear link between speed and the severity of injuries.
Right. The faster you're going, the worse it's going to be if you have a crash. It's basic physics.
Exactly. And the numbers they give are pretty startling.
Yeah. So they said a car traveling at 100 kilometers an hour, the impact force of that is 4 times greater than a car traveling at 50 kilometers an hour.
4 times.
4 times. So even what we think of as a small increase in speed can have this massive impact on the outcome if you do have a crash.
Yeah, you think about those numbers, it really hits home. Those speed limits are there for a reason.
They're based on science. They've been calculated. They're not just random numbers plucked out of thin air.
So what can we do? I mean, if we know all this, if we understand the risks, how do we actually change things?
Well, it's a good question. It's not easy. But the research suggests a few different approaches. Enforcement, for one. Speed cameras, police presence, those things do work. They act as deterrents.
Right, so having that visible reminder.
Exactly. But we need to think beyond just, catching people and punishing them. Road design can play a huge role too. Think about roundabouts, for instance.
Right.
They naturally force drivers to slow down, to pay closer attention to what's going on around them.
It's almost like you're designing the roads in a way that encourages safer behavior.
Exactly. That's the idea. And then, of course, there's the human element. Driver education, raising awareness about the risks. And not just the risks of getting a ticket, but the real risks of causing a serious accident.
It's about shifting that mindset. It's not just about, oh, I can get away with it, so I will. It's actually, this is about safety. This is about everyone on the road.
And it's about recognizing that we all make mistakes. We're all human. But if we can just be a little bit more aware, a little bit more careful, it can make a world of difference.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just about us.
No, not at all. Every time we get behind the wheel, we have a responsibility to everyone else on the road. Pedestrians, cyclists, other drivers.
Because, going back to those small increases in speed, 5 kilometers here, 10 kilometers there,
It seems insignificant at the time, but
it can have huge consequences.
huge, and we've seen that.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, what's
Yeah.
the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
Well, we've uncovered a lot about speed and safety, haven't we? The data's clear. Speed plays a massive role in accidents. But it's not just about knowing the stats, is it? It's about what we do with that knowledge.
It's about action.
Yeah, it's about asking ourselves, how do we create a culture of road safety? And it's not just about more police or harsher penalties. It's about infrastructure. It's about education. It's about individuals taking responsibility.
It's about all of us working together.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want to get where we're going safely.
And we want everyone else to be able to do the same.
Exactly. So drive safely out there.
That's all for our deep dive today, but the conversation doesn't end here. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Head over to our socials and share your experiences, your ideas, your tips for staying safe on the road. And remember, every kilometer counts, so let's make them count. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Personal Injury Claims, explained by Foyle Legal. Remember, this podcast is for informational purposes and isn't legal advice. For advice specific to your situation, visit us at Foyle Legal. And don't forget to subscribe or leave a review.